Wow. 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 I began, as always, in the matchless name of Jesus. This video is going to be doing my review of Arrow Season 3, Episode 14, The Return. So we open up with Oliver and Thea on the island of Lian Yu. And by the way, this episode is the flashback episode where majority of the flashbacks take place on where the episode is devoted to mostly the flashbacks, and a few of them take place during present day. The past two seasons of Arrow have done it, have had this type of episodes. Episode 14, The Odyssey, had it in from season 1, and episode 15, season The Promise from season 2 had it. So, anyways, we start off on the island and we see Oliver and Thea training. It's pretty cool. We see them kicking. We see them too. We see them training via the boat, via bamboo sticks. So just like Slade and Oliver. Slade and Oliver did in the season 1, episode 14, The Odyssey, and as he does with Roy in the present day. So really cool, and we see how great Thea is doing, and so they start eating. They go to a fire, they start eating, and then it's like, and then she's like, and then Thea mentioned Sara. So, and wondering what, no wait, before that, I need to rewind back, and it's like, they go there, they're having eating, and there's like, feels like there's no more secrets between us, and then we are like, and then we are like chit-chatting, and then we are like, and then they go on continuing speaking, and then we have Oliver going to sleep. He mentions Sara, and then Thea asks about Sara, and she's like, what happened to her? And then Oliver tells her that Sara went back to the League of Assassins for some reason. Sara went back to the League of Assassins, and that he wanted to keep that secret because that was not his secret to tell. And then Oliver says he needs to go for a walk. He heads over to the Argus prison where he check up on Slade and realizes that Slade is missing and that he got out. And then we go to the opening credits, and then we go back. So meanwhile, I need to just go blow through the flashbacks and then get back to this. So we go back to the and we go into the flashbacks and she is saying they need to go and recover the Omega project. Amanda Waller tells them this, and then she also says that he is not to reveal himself to his friends or anybody else, and if he does, he will be killed, and so will anybody else who finds out. And so Oliver and Maceo walk through the streets, and as they head over to Queen Consolidated after Maceo puts a tracking device under a car, and then Oliver spots his sister, which is good, which was nice to see. And then they go follow her, and Oliver follows her and sees her speaking to his grave, and then he meets up with some other guy, and then Tommy goes over there. Man, it's so nice to see him, and he says that she shouldn't be doing drugs or anything like that. So, and Thea's like, "You're not my brother." Very ironic now, with what we know now. And so we go back to, and then we continue to, and then Oliver continues later that night to go into the party place and see all of them, where there's a party going on. And then before you know it, he's confronting the same guy who came to her with the drugs, and he says, "Stay away from my sister." The guy recognizes him. He tries to kill him. Oliver kills him before he could, and then he leaves. Meanwhile, I need to rewind back and say that we see Detective Lance as he is drowning out his sorrows at a bar, probably all night. His daughter Laurel comes over there to get him, and then he says, and we see him drunk. And then later after Oliver kills that guy in self-defense, he says he just goes into a drunken ran and see his old partner before he got killed, and he's like, must be a vigilante out in place doing service. Wow, way to foreshadow. So it's like, way to foreshadow. So, and then we have a little, and we also see Diggle and his brother Andy before he got killed by Deadshot. And he's chit chatting, and we have, wow, we have chit chatting and things like that. So, all Diggle not even realizing, John Diggle not even knowing that he is soon going to be bodyguarding Queen. So, yeah, that's good stuff. So, anyways, we have, he continues. There's a chit chat between, we just see Quentin Lance being a drunken jerk throughout the whole episode. I mean, throughout the whole scene to both Thea and Laurel. And it's like, and then before you know it, as Oliver's watching, Maceo comes and pokes a gun at him, and they say, argument. And then before that, I also forgot something else. Oliver goes into Queen Consolidated. He goes to get something on the computer, and before you know it, Felicity Smoke comes back to her office, and then she sees Oliver's picture and says, "You're cute, but you're dead." So wow. So it's clear that Felicity liked Oliver before all this. So and then after that we see, and then we have, anyways, Oliver and Maceo go back to part ways, and then Oliver goes back to his house, the Queen Mansion, and he sees, and then he finds a message that Oliver, that Sara, and that his father left him. So if you, in the episode, season 1, episode 11, Trust But Verify, Oliver says to Diggle that his father sent him, left a message saying that he had explained that every name on the list had a reason to be there. Well, now in this episode we see that message. It was something that Robert left him before dying, and he says basically what he said to him right out as the Queen's Gambit went down, that he wasn't the man he said he was. He didn't save the city. He failed it, and that everything, all the names of the people that hurt the city were in one little book. So, and it's like, wow. So, like, that's the message that Oliver was referring to. So, and that motivates him to go back to help Maceo. Speaking of whom, Maceo goes to some sort of auction hosted by Chan Na Wei, and then as they're going on, he interrupts it, and then he fights and get captured, and before you know it, Oliver comes in, rescues him, they fight, and they leave. And they stop him, and they stop China White. They punch him, and they get her associate. So, and then as soon as they are back they're back ready to go, back with Waller, then this guy named Shreve, or somewhat, says that he needs to be debriefed, and that they will go, that he can take him anywhere he wants in the world. So, that's good. Anyways, back to the flashbacks. Now devoting the rest of this episode to the flashbacks. We see Oliver just runs back to Thea after finding out that Slade has been freed, and they talk to him. They talk, and then they go, and before you know it, Oliver says that him and Thea need to run, and then before you know it, Slade comes out of nowhere and then puts Thea at gunpoint. And then before you know it, they run. They are both knocked out, and they are put into the same prison. So Oliver tells Thea that she has been through that her brother has more secrets. So feels like this was a reference back to season 2, episode 18, Deathstroke, when he tells her that Malcolm Merlin is her father. So, and now he's insinuating that Oliver's keeping more, and then he leaves him there. And then Thea is asking, what other secrets are you keeping from me? She keeps on pressing the matter, and then he realizes there's a way to get themselves out of there, and then they go for another door, press a button to let them out, and they get out. and then they keep on going, and then as she's running, they're running, they find out Sara falls into a booby trap. Oliver rescues her. He gets a little wounded in the process in the shoulder, and then he pulls out the little thing piercing him, and then Oliver spills that she was brainwashed into killing Sara, and that causes Thea to get angry, very angry, and it was like, and then before you know it, Oliver, Mount Slade, it has Thea at gunpoint again, but she disarms him, gets out of his grasp, which was awesome. And then before you know it, there is somewhat of a three-way fight between those two. Oliver and Thea versus Slade. It was excellent, excellent. And then before you know it, Thea has Slade at her mercy, and she really wants to kill him because that's what Malcolm wanted. Why he put them there, to test their strength, to regain their killer instinct. And then Oliver just tells her not to do it, and before you know it, she pulls the trigger. But fortunately, it was just in somewhere other than the head. And then before you know it, Slade is locked up back into the prison. So, and also Slade calls because a callback to Shadow. Basically the motivation for why he tried to turn Starling City into a crater in season 2. So, anyways, they go back to, and then they lock him up. He mentions Felicity threatens him, and then they return. They go back and they leave Lian Yu and go back to Starling City. And before you know it, Thea gives a speech to Malcolm saying, basically disowning him as her father, which satisfied me a lot. I would have been much more preferable if Malcolm was killed, if she just killed Malcolm upright, which is why I wish this secret was divulged later near the end of the season, so we could see Malcolm die in the season finale. So, anyways, that was the end of that episode. This was a very good episode. Very, very good episode. I'll have to give this a 10 out of 10. Excellent episode. Nice foreshadowing call forwards to the first season and future seasons. Very good. 10 out of 10. This was a good episode. Alright. I can't wait for the next one. Again, good episode. Can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for the next one. Alright, that's all for this video.